name is Marina Koch. I'm from the Eloy team, and I'm very happy to welcome you tonight together with Carmen and the rest of the team to our special come together session on the topic of participation, citizen participation, especially for fostering democracy. I will just shortly introduce what we will do today. We want to talk about the important topic of participation, what we can do, how we can get involved, and what is needed for that. And then we will have Ms. Gisela Erler. She will make a short introduction to the topic on citizen participation for democracy. I also want to welcome Professor Dr. Ottmar Marti from the University of Ulm, who will make a short input on possibilities of analog participation. And Carmen Stadelhofer as well will make a short input on digital possibilities. So we have a little input, and we will use this input to discuss.
A very warm welcome to all of you coming from different countries along the Danube. I saw it starting in Germany and ending in Ukraine. And also a welcome.
I don't hear you anymore.
Oh. A welcome
Hey.
To our friend from Great Britain. Participation is the theme of this evening, and we tried to participate some minutes ago, sharing our ideas about democracy. And we have seen in the lens card, but also in this, an exercise, that participation is not so easy in digital way. And that we will make a special session for train it, I think, because it's a good method to share, but it's not so easy to handle it. Sometimes it's a technique, but sometimes it's also up to us. We are 44 people, and we are all here to speak about democracy and participation. And for the opening speech, we asked our dear friend, she is with us since a long time, the former State Secretary Gisela Erler, now living in Berlin. We asked her because she's a good friend, but especially we asked her because she is really an expert in participation, citizens' participation. She started in Baden-Württemberg with our Minister President, a big campaign for civil participation. And we will today speak a little bit about, but if you are more interested, we will go deeper another time. But first, we ask her also to give us some arguments why it is important for us, for all of us in all countries and for all ages to be involved, to give really a serious topic to this participation, but not only in theory, but also in practice. Yeah, Gisela,
I don't hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, we hear you well, and we are very curious to hear your commitment, and thank you for participating.
Okay, I will try to. I had a long conversation with Carmen this morning about what we should try to do. I won't give a long speech about what I did, but I want to tell you that in the end, my most successful methods had to do with the random selection of citizens by administration. I want to say a few words about really why democracy is important before we go to participation, because in all our countries, now we have a significant minority of people who think minority doesn't function, it is too soft, it can't make decisions, it's too complicated, it is too liberal, it is too weak. And that's why we have the danger of Trump being elected, or of Putin, or of many people in East Germany voting for very far-right parties who are losing the connection to democracy. So just very few arguments, but who just recently, this week, we had a new Nobel Prize for a Turkish-American economist who with others together showed, first of all, democracy in the long run is the only system that has guaranteed the development also of economic prosperity. even though in Eastern Europe we have many problems, it's a very hard transition. If you look at the entire world, from India to Brazil to North America, whatever, you can see, and others, they are economically more prosperous. And China is a long, far way still gone from that. Second, you don't go to prison. It's important for things that you think or say, because in most liberal societies you actually do go to prison, and that's it. Third, democracies don't attack each other. Americans have done some bad wars, etc. We know that, but basically democracies are much more peaceful. And as you can see in the European Union, it's the longest history of peace worldwide between many nations that we've had. And that's one thing why we need to keep it, and also keep it in a democratic way. So that's ahead of things. Now, of course, people especially in Eastern Europe, but also in East Germany, they voted for democracy 30 years ago, 25 years ago, and then they voted for Europe. But there was a misunderstanding. Many thought, if I vote for this, I will be instantly have access to all the consumer goods I wanted. I will be able to travel. I will be wealthier, and still I will be taken care of. I will have a job and everything will be wonderful. Obviously, it did not work this way. It was very hard for many groups, pensioners, lonely mothers, Roma, but also ordinary people who lost their professions and their entire life. It was a hard transition. Some people are and were poorer than before. So now we have this period of nostalgia for socialism. People keep forgetting about Stalin, about the Holodomor. They keep forgetting about Ceausescu. They keep forgetting about the Russians in Hungary. It's really interesting, and they keep forgetting that. So what I'm saying is, in Eastern Germany and many in all over Eastern Europe, people voted for a transition, but they did not expect what they had voted for. Democracy, in order to survive, needs active participation, or it will die. It needs involvement, it needs responsibility, it needs thinking about how to solve contradictions. Democracy is also about conflicts of interests between employers and employees, between older and younger sometimes, between refugees and native people, between all kinds of groups. And you have to negotiate these conflicts on a local level, communal level, on a nation level, and on a European level. And this is what people have to learn. Unless they become involved in creating lively communities and having responsibility, democracy cannot survive. Baden-Württemberg, where I come from, is a state which is booming with people who are active somewhere in the Feuerwehr as firefighters, or in the refugee work, or for nature, or whatever. And you need these structures, and they have not emerged yet enough in many areas. So that's what we're talking about. And so now I do not have recipes, but I can think about a few things that you'd have to sit down wherever you are, together with some friends, and then think about what could or should or might we do here.
Gisela, you put us found a place for our discussion. You explained why it is so important to involve us, not only by thinking, reading, also by acting. You said it's not important where we do something, but why and with whom. And not only to speak, but to make some projects. And you ended us some examples, and you said demonstrations are fine, but it's not with some, how to say, good outcome. But thank you, Gisela, for coming. I hope you can hear me. And now up to us to speak a little about what she said and your reflections, impressions about.
Sorry, I could not attend the whole Gisela's speech, but what I heard reminds me of Lindemann, the American. He's a theorist of adult education, and he believed that adults have to come together and discuss the topics that are the social topics, the topics of the society and of the changes of society. And then these different circles, shall we say study circles, come together and rediscuss the topic, and then they go into actions. And I would also remind us of Condorcet, who said that there is no democracy without previous knowledge, without having knowledge. And a wider picture of the situation is really, it's just a word, not something that transforms society. So I would focus also on the need for having knowledge about democracy. If you
Thank you. Knowledge about democracy, history of democracy, and how it is the state of the art now and what will be the future, and to reflect and also to build together the future, not staying and waiting, if I understand well. Thank you, Dejana. Is there another commitment? Iliana.
We know democracy does not reproduce. The new generation need to be educated in the spirit of democracy, which means involvement, participatory in the problem of their community. And I want to present a few type of education in Romania from development the democracy skills in school. In 7th grade, students study education for a democratic citizenship, and 33% of this topic is from involved in a project. The project name Project Citizen. The students can study the local community and found the problems who is not well. Then they try together to found elaborated a public policy and to look the solution to solve the problem, to report the problem and the solution of the local public leader. And after the response of their letter, their petition, then can reflection about all the process. There is the first involved in local community and try to understand and realize when can citizen involve in elaborated public policy.
Iliana, thanks. I think we will, Iliana, I will stop you because we have a longer program, but we will speak in smaller groups later about. Thank you for this example. And I think we have a lot to exchange because others have also examples, I'm sure. Are there a direct comment, short comment to what you heard?
The intervention of Gisela earlier is I don't understand very much because it's all the time is interrupting. It's disparate ideas.
Okay,
unfortunately.
we will note what she said, and we will send it to you in any way because she said important
And
words.
I think it's necessary to offer the concrete examples of participatory. I suppose.
Okay, thank you, Eliana. Now up to another person who is
Gerhard is raising his hand.
interested.
Yes, thank
Gerhard,
you.
go
Thank you.
on. Gerhard.
Yes, to solve this issue with Berlin, you should next time switch off the video because this is space consuming. So only the voice is maybe better, and we have seen her once, and that's okay. You see, maybe this is the solution to avoid it.
Okay, this was a proposal for a better use of technique. We will collect. We have some
Participation,
problems
of
this
participation,
evening.
Carmen.
Yes, we have to train and we have to look for. Thank you.
We are always learning. Okay,
Yes.
but back to our subject. Participation is also possible in authoritarian or dictatorships. I don't forget that in the 30s, in the Third Reich, there was a lot of participation, but it was not at all democratic. So I absolutely agree with Susanna Findeisen. It is much more knowledge. It's much more knowing about it. And here in Germany, and not only in Germany, in Western Europe, we have a very strong tendency to vote for parties which are absolutely not democratical. And this is the issue. It is not participation alone, because I have the experience that here in the Rhine-Main area, participation of citizens with municipalities or with politicians is not asked for. They don't want it because they feel controlled. And that's in my opinion, that's critical because it's something refuse a discussion. So politicians have the tendency here, I'm not talking about other countries, I'm talking about my own experience. They avoid discussions. They don't want the influence of citizens, which is anti-democratic, absolutely.
Thank you, Gerhard. So I think you pointed out two important things. Participation is not enough. Participation and knowledge. Participation and reflect togetherness with others in a reflected way is important. Exactly. And not to follow a participation for participation. And then you are not convinced that the politicians are interested in civil society opinion and involvement. So we cannot speak about in this moment here. But I would like to give the floor to Ottmar Marti because he has some good example how in a structural way a country and politicians are open for civil society participation. Dear Ottmar, good evening. Ottmar Martin is professor for experimental physics at Ulm University, and he is very engaged in his science, but he's also a very engaged citizen, and he's also in support of Eloy, our association, and he is a Swiss, and so I'm very happy that he agreed to speak a little bit about the experience as a Swiss in Switzerland.
Okay, good evening together. As Carmen said, I am Swiss citizen. I grew up in Switzerland and I experienced political participation in the sense that that most things are made from the bottom to the top. So I'm living in a community, and this community has a community council. And in my case, it was a small community, so there was a town assembly every year. At the town assembly, we were discussing things like which roads have to be replaced, which schools have to be built, up to the question, what is the salary of the town council, of the government, the local government, and everyone That is to say, every Swiss citizen had the right to propose things. Sometimes you had to vote. And the most important thing in Switzerland is there is no taxation without any popular vote. So whatever is taxed in Switzerland has been approved by the people. It's not possible, it's not allowed that any taxes are levied without the consent of the people. Now, I said Swiss citizens, that depends. If you're living in a community in the western part of Switzerland, then if you're a foreigner, if you're living there for 5 years, you might participate. If you're in the eastern part of Switzerland, things are much more strict. The next level in Switzerland is the cantons. So the cantons are like the Bundesländer in Germany or some other districts or Länder in Austria, for instance. They have a government. The government is elected by the people. They have a parliament. The parliament is elected by the people. And there you have the different tools. Certain things like taxes have to be subject to popular vote. Other things are optional, but for instance, if there is a law made and a certain number of people do think this law is not very good, then you can demand a popular vote. If the government loses, it loses. And if the government doesn't get the idea what to do, you can start an initiative to actually propose something new. And even there, if you have enough signatures, then the people have to vote on it. Now, the top level is the Swiss government, located in Bern, with a two-chamber parliament. One chamber is elected proportional to the number of people. The other one is elected two representatives per canton, per land, and they together form the Swiss parliament, and it's the Swiss parliament which elects the Swiss government. The federal government in Switzerland is not elected by the people. But again, taxes have to be voted on by the people. Important treaties with other countries have to be voted on by the people. That is to say, Switzerland is the only country, as far as I know, in the world which is a member of the United Nations because of popular vote. In every other country, the governments decided to join the United Nations. And again, here, if the government does a law which is not, which you think is not well done or which you do not like, you can start what's called a referendum. And if you get 50,000 signatures, you have people have to vote on the law. And you can also demand that the constitution is amended, and there you need 100,000 signatures and again a popular vote. But in this case, it's not that simple. It's not only the majority of the people who have to agree, but also the majority of the states. And and above that, you always have the right to make a petition. That is to say, to beg for something. That's what the word means. And that you can do no matter whether you're a Swiss citizen or not or whatever. So this is the way political participation works in Switzerland. And in my opinion, the most important thing is that it's built from the bottom to the top. Just a final remark, when I was living in Switzerland, I paid half of my taxes to the community in which I lived. I paid another third of my taxes to the canton in which I lived, and 1/6 went to the federal government. So, I mean, I knew where my money was going, and I could see what was done with my money. Okay, so that's probably the most important thing.
Thank you, Ottmar. It was very interesting to hear that you in Switzerland, the Swiss can participate on different level and have different rights to how to say to vote or to ask for or to interrupt processes. Up to our auditorium, who has some questions to Ottmar Marti?
I have a question. Hello, can you hear me,
Yes.
Carmen? Oh,
Yes,
hello.
we hear you well.
Hello. It was very interesting what you said. I have a question. When you say popular vote, does this mean direct vote? Every person votes and every vote counts.
Yes.
You don't have this is what you mean, right?
That's what I mean. For instance, on the 24th of November, there is a vote on 4 different things. One is a change in the what is to say health care system. The second one is whether one wants to expand the freeways in Switzerland to 6 lanes or 8 lanes, depending on how much traffic, or whether one wants to keep them at the distance they are. And the other one is, you see, I have this.
Right. Yeah.
And then you get something like this here. There it says. So the other things are whether you want to change the way landlords deal with the renters of their apartments. One is whether you have a right to sublet your apartment, and the other one is what is the procedure if the landlord says he needs the apartment himself. So that's on a federal level things which we are deciding.
Okay, thank you. And how old should you be to have the right to vote?
18.
18. All right. And how do you guarantee, how does the government, okay, the local government and so on, how does it guarantee that people are really informed about what they vote? Is there some kind of campaign?
There is a campaigning. If you look into this booklet, then you have 4 parts. First is a summary. Then there is the statement of the government. Mm-hmm. Then there's the statement of those who have started the referendum or the other thing. And the last part is the text of the law or the change of the constitution.
I see.
Цвета, много пари за да подготвят тези материали. Is there obligation to vote?
Yes, this is my next question.
There's no obligation to vote. The usual participation is on the order of 40%. If there are very important things, the participation rises to 80-90%. But
do you vote with your name, or it is not legal? Not
anonymous.
Anonymous.
You have to, well, it's a 2-part thing. I'm voting by a letter, so I'm writing a letter to the thing, and there I have an envelope in which I put my answers to the questions. There is no name on that. I seal that envelope. Then the envelope is put in another envelope together with the certificate that I have the right to vote, and there I have to sign, and that I'm sending back.
So, yep, okay.
If I would go to an official voting place, I would hand in my certificate that I have the right to vote, and then take the paper, which the voting slip, and go to the box and put it in there. I trust that they're not opening. I trust that they're not opening it before. So,
Marty, obviously, democracy is very, very expensive.
Yes, but it's more
Also
expensive. if
prepare
it's-
all these materials. This is money. They are not for health. They are not for, I don't know.
Yeah, but this
But this is also important, of course.
this is important, but
this is absolutely foolish.
but
Democracy is not expensive. Dictatorship is much more expensive.
yeah.
It's absolutely ridiculous because you have a free economy. And the Swiss is a very good example for that.
Yeah, I mean, you have to explain to the people why you need a certain tax, and if the people see that it's necessary to have it and they vote for it, then you do not have the problem that this tax is unfair. And if you deem it that it's unfair, then you start an initiative.
I have a
Find enough
question.
people.
Otto, I have a question. In the journal, I read that now you can vote digitally. How it is going on?
In Switzerland, it depends on in which canton you are living. Some cantons allow it, some don't.
Mm-hmm. And what's about the youth? You said that a lot of people go voting, and for us, it's wonderful to hear it. But who is going to vote, and what's about the youth?
There I have. It's probably the way people who have a long tradition do it more. But roughly 90% of all people voting in Switzerland do it by a letter. So they're not going to the voting place, they are sending in the letter with their vote. Mm-hmm. And unlike in Germany, you do not have to actually ask for the right to vote per letter, but you have everyone gets the whole material so that you can send in the letter with your vote. The difference is if you're living in Switzerland, the letter is for free. If you're living outside Switzerland and you want to vote, then you have to pay for the post.
Just to say, in Germany we can vote by letter, but we have to ask for that the letter is sent to us.
Yes.
And in Switzerland, it seems that it's in any way given by.
It used to be that you had to ask, but it's now the common thing.
Mm-hmm. Gerhard, you have a question.
Yes, it's a mean question to Ottmar. How many actions did it take to get the vote right for women in Switzerland?
Oh, it was. It took a long time. The first places where women got the right to vote was a tiny little community in the Wallis Alps, very conservative, but there they were the first ones. Then it took until 1971 where you got the right to vote on a federal place. So you see, the next thing is Switzerland is very divided. You have a right to vote on a community level, then on a cantonal level, and then on a federal level. So the federal makes the minimum standards, but you can go beyond. So, for instance, in the 50s and 60s, the minimum standards was all male have the right to vote, but cantons could say, well, for our business, women can also vote, or like it is today. In the western part of Switzerland, if you're a foreigner living in Switzerland for 5 years or so, then you have the right to vote. And in the canton of Jura, you do not even have to be Swiss to be member of the Jura government. But every canton can extend it more than the minimum which is given by the federal government. They cannot go below that.
And they can extend only by the vote of the population of this canton.
Only for the canton, or in other cases, only for the community.
Yeah. No, but my intention with this question was to say that not all decisions are really perfect. Even if the citizens participate, this is a dilemma, because as you said, you have to be informed, and it's not you get the information, but you must read it.
Yeah,
So,
the other thing is, I mean, the Swiss government, the party with the most vote or percentage has roughly 29%. Switzerland, since the 30s, has a constant coalition government and three parties forming a government. In Switzerland, it's at least 4.
So you are speaking about a country where participation is practiced since a long time in different models.
Yes,
but
that's
we have
true.
also countries in our network where it is not given or where it is difficult. And we spoke now from a personal vote and a personal participation. Thank you for giving us all this information. And let us look now for other types of participation connected to for state votes. I had been in Hungary last week, and we had been with a delegation, and we had been in a contact with citizens, how to say, a group of citizens. And they have a lot of problems in Hungary to realize what they like to do. And the politics is quite made by Mr. Orban and what he is thinking to do. And he's very strict and autocrat, and it's difficult. And so it was very interesting to hear that citizens stepped up parties to as civil society parties to go for presenting for being voted in the community. So not one person was acting, but as a group they are acting, and it's very interesting. And if we have some interest in, we can have a deeper look in all our countries to hear how it's going forward with elections and participation on a political level. But Gisela Erler spoke also about bottom-up. By the way, Ottmar said also it's bottom-up. And and she brought some examples how little small groups by projects can also participate for fostering democracy. Remember, the sound was not good, I remember, but locally, the little groups can change and can influence by participating in or creating a group who is making something together to change the arrangement. And we think that now in our time, digital tools help a lot to foster participation. We in our projects, we are not until now as a participating community, but nevertheless, we make some steps. And as you know, we created an Ukraine support group, which is quite a big one. And to be in contact, and we had big problems that we had no knowledge of Ukraine, and at the beginning, at least Ukraine had no knowledge about German. And so how to create connections between those who are living together in an analog and digital way. And just for give you some ideas, perhaps also how to train to basic tools. I will just make known how we did it. Mathis, machst du weiter, bitte? So, building bridge between refugees and not only Germans, but also other people living in Ulm. This was our aim, and how to use innovative programs and online tools, at least to be in contact and to collect opinions, to collect interest, and so on. Go on. So our aim is also to foster civil engagement and having a good comprehension of democracy, and to give the possibility for self-help. And so we did a lot of things. And go on, because it's too long. It's not, das ist nicht die richtige. So, to know what they like to know about the new conditions of life and where are the needs, we used some tools, digital tools, and we asked people to go in these tools and to give us answers. But also for planning, we made a lot of events. For to organize these events, we always had been in contact with those who had been invited, but before, these people helping to make the event on organizational level, but also on content level. Then we gave announcements, and we did it always in 2 languages, in German and in Ukraine, by help of volunteers, because, as I said at the beginning, we had and have no common language. And this was very important, that also those who are in and who are invited understand what kind of event it will be and what is asked for and so on. Then they could book digitally the event or the proposal, or they could comment, but we asked also for competencies they have and to bring in. This was also very important for us, to ask, not only to give, but also to ask, can you bring in something? Have you competencies we can use together and so on? So we had a lot of people, very instructed one, who said we can offer a lecture, we can offer handcrafts, we can offer IT, we can offer. And so step by step, it needs time, surely, we built it up a bigger group of people, not only asking for something to have, but also something to bring. By this tool, it's very good because we see the needs, but we can also give feedbacks, and we can make evaluation, and we can make public work. And so I think this is the first step for participation in digital way, to know very simple tools. Mathis, gehst du vor? Mathis, ja, geh bitte voran. Das ist die falsche Präsentation. So, weiter hier. First, we stepped up groups by WhatsApp and Telegram. We have our own WhatsApp group, more than 300 people are in, but others take Telegram or others. And we are planning what we tend to do, or what we are asking in Facebook and Instagram. And we use also YouTube. And I think you know all these tools. Until now, TikTok had not been taken, and we are discussing about, because a lot of young people are looking TikTok, but in TikTok we have also a lot of uncensored things, and you have also this information in all this. This is a theme which is very important to take knowledge about. So, weiter. So, we have a website, and you can go to this website, ukrainehilfe.de, and so all what we did and what we like to do and what we asked, it was also in the website and in a complex way in German and Ukraine. Weiter. Then we took social media, as I said. Zoom, as we do this evening, is very good with the translator tools, but also we can discuss and have a whiteboard, and we have a lot of other the small groups and so on. Eveno is an example for an online questionnaire, and it's costing nothing. And it can make a lot of participation by this tool. And online courses, we did online courses or tandems for digital conversation for to improve German. But we have also our Vima platform. Some of you know it. It's a very big platform. And now at the beginning, it was only in some languages, but now you can use it in 15 languages. You can write in your own language and ask for someone you look for, and I can write in my language, in German or in English or and so on, and I can understand by translator what you have written, and I can write in my language. It's for all those who have not learned English, because English is fine and we use it also this evening, but not all people learned English at school, and so it's very important to use all these tools, because in our towns we have a lot of people who are not so sure in German language. We have citizens from 127 different countries. We have a lot of migrants and so on. And so these tools are very helpful. Weiter? So this is the Vima platform, and we create groups of interest. And this is perhaps the first base of what Gisela said, to create, be together, but not only to exchange, how to say, nice words, or to have more information, but also to do something together and discussion and to invite our knowledge and to take decisions. Weiter? And so you can see this is a network not only of people, you know that we have a big network of people along the Danube, but it's participants, organizations, volunteers and helpers and so on. But you have also a network of very helpful digital tools. Our interest is to practice with you more tools. We have seen this evening, it was quite difficult, but it's a question of practice. And then I think we can go forward to exchange and to develop ideas. And this form of participation, the first democracy, I think, is international, we are intergenerational, and we are all very informed, very specific. Danke, kannst du machen.
Ich habe jetzt I have turned off my video. Can anyone hear me this way?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I just want to say very few words. I think that Carmen, you in Ulm, you have the most advanced type of tools and network for creating participation from the bottom up outside the political process, which was described for Switzerland, but that's a very different thing. I want to just say that there are two things. One is, if people don't find others that they are always together with, if people always sit together in their own Ukrainian or Ulm or whatever, Croatian or whatever group, they tend to become paranoid, hostile, also if it's a feminist group. So it's essential for democracy that people reach out to do things with others, because otherwise they sit like in a pressure cooker especially if they are not in their homeland and start hating each other, and not trusting each other. So creating a network which does projects where different people interact is a way of healing relationships for democracy. Otherwise, democracy is in danger of collapsing into different groups, but the groups themselves are then also hostile among each other. We can see this in many areas now. And this hostility among refugees, for example, and against refugees is worldwide. It happens everywhere. So what Carmen is doing, building these bridges between the different groups, is essential for democracy not to collapse in terms of too many hostilities. And so this is it's just not activity, it's also a healing process for democracy, what she does. And I think working from this kind of cooperation across different borders, finding new people and doing things together is essential for creating a lively democracy in Germany and other countries, but we have more than 100 nationalities. So this is essential. Thank you, Carmen, for doing all this work.
Thank you, Gisela. And it's for all the Ulm team who is involved and all participating as volunteers this way, the Zug conference and also in Lima, and we hope we go forward. We made this first step to participation in democracy, and we would like to know if you're interested that we continue, that we go more in this theme, that we hear more about to widen our knowledge about democracy in different countries, and perhaps on the way step up groups of interest for some special questions. Let us end with your opinion, with perhaps you have also some very good practice, which would be nice and of interest for us to hear, not this evening, but for another time. So let us collect a little bit your feelings, your impressions, and your proposals. But please speak not long, because we are a big group, and so it would be nice if a lot of people can give their statements. Who is starting?
Can I start? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
I am Galina from Kiev, from Ukraine. If we speak of democracy, we only can realize what is democracy when it is at risk. Now we are at risk. And we Ukrainians who stay in Ukraine, who are still in Ukraine, we know what is the price of democracy. We work hard to save our country, to protect our country. And we have to join our efforts and to be together. Because while we are together, we are stronger. I wish you to feel this togetherness even without war. I wish you peace. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Galina, for coming in, and thank you also for your statement. And I'm sure that all of us are very near to you. We had several Zoom sessions as expression of our solidarity with Ukraine. And we are very happy that you and others are willing to share with us, how to say, some information based on reality, and also to look forward for solidarity and the peaceful Ukraine in a solidarity and peaceful Europe. So thank you for coming, and let us If you have some ideas how we can share, how we can support, let us know.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Good evening. I would like to introduce myself. Do you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
I would like to introduce myself. My name is Ruslana. I am also from Ukraine. At the moment, I live in Ulm, German. I would like, when I think about democracy, I think about that democracy starts from each of us, what we have, what kind of thoughts we have, because everywhere are people. So those people who vote are people, and those who rule the government are also people. And it is very important what motivation each of us has, and what we want, what are our aims. So if we will speak about activity in political life, we should think about an idea that we should that each of us should have an idea to make something good, not only for himself, but as well for people around us and for our government, to be active, not to be passive. And it is a very good scene at the moment in Ukraine, how people are united in order to save our country. So from my point of view, it is very important since childhood to develop the thought that I should live not only for myself, I should make not only good for myself, but also I should look for ways how can I help to others, what I can create in order to make my country better, or what I can make in order to improve something in my life, in the life of my neighbors, in my company, or whatever. And when we are united, when we think, we are stronger, like Galina said.
Thank you, Ruslana, for your call for participation on the personal level, but also to act together and in solidarity. Thank you. Now I will ask Twinka.
Hello, everyone. Nice to see all of you. I'm sending greetings from Uzhgorod, from Lesya Loiko. That is a very great friend of yours. I've sent to the chat some links that we use in Ukraine as an example when we can when we are participative citizens. So there you can see. I will not share my screen. If you want, you can check this sites. So one of them is in our city of Uzhgorod, but also other cities of Ukraine. It calls Open City, where each citizen can publish any problematic places in our city that have to be fixed. For example, you can make a photo of the place, you can describe the problem, and you can add this. And department of our city should always react somehow if they saw this problem and if they solve it or not. So many cities of Ukraine are registered in that website, Open City. Many people doesn't know about this option. And for example, we at our NGO Forza, we are trying always to communicate that if you want to change something, use at least those tools that you already have. For example, websites like Open City. The other one is website for petitions to the name of our president. And there are always also different kinds of problems you can solve. But nowadays, one of the most popular option is to award our soldiers who died already, like to award the hero of Ukraine. So you have to collect about 25, not less than 25,000 votes, and then the president will sign it or not. Also, it doesn't mean that he will make it. And there you can see if there is a filter, and you can choose the topic what you need. But something that I'm sure you don't have in your countries, it's because of our war, we have this option also. And also, we have an experience since this year that we were collecting the votes for for saving a green zone in Uzhgorod by Google form. So we just texted and our topic, what we want to city to protect. We have a big alley of trees, and we were afraid that it can be destroyed. So we made by Google form a text that we shared through social media, and we actually gathered 1,200, almost 200 votes. That is very big number for Uzhgorod. And this is also influenced our local government. And now we are trying to give this not just to show that we have this problem, that we are destroying many green zones, but also that we have to protect them by giving them the protection status, if you know what I mean. So this is a few things that we already have, and something that we always use, each of us in my team, and always explain this to people that we meet that are asking us what we can change. Then we have these tools, we suggest them, we are trying to help and to promote. So for me, in my country, this is like our society become more adult with these tools, with all of these steps. And I'm very proud to be part of it and to see how it's changing. And I'm very grateful to you also that you are sharing your experience and everything what you do actually to make people more active. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the input, and thank you for the links. We will, of course, maybe you can we save them, but and we will make a collection. Of course, if also others have links or ideas or input that they want to share, we will gather them all. So you can send it to us. And thank you very much for your input. And I think for today, this was a very great first session, and I think there's still some ideas, and there are still topics that we want to discuss. So we would be very happy if you contact us if you're interested to talk a little more about this topic, because I think there's still much more to discuss, much more examples and ideas that we can share. But I'm very happy that you joined us today for the session, shared your input, discussed with us, and we would be happy if you would be interested to further discuss this topic at another point. So thank you very much for your participation, for the translators, for everybody who participated in some way, of course to Leo and to the rest of the team as well. Thank you very much for tonight. A first impression of how much input and topics about the topic of participation there is to discuss. So thank you and stay active and have a good evening. See you soon.